Welcome, class. It's good to be with you guys. Hey. Hope you guys are all doing well. Excited to be with you. Excited to get started. Yeah, I think I got it down for you today. I think I have the chat commands ready for you. Thanks for trying. You just got to take that space away. So exclamation point, no space, and then core vocabulary. So all one word put together. So I have the core vocabulary up for you, and then also the big question to help you guys remember. But welcome to history. Glad to be with you today. Let's get this party started, right? I know you guys have things you want to do and get done. So let's dive right into our chapter 4. So again, don't put a space between the exclamation point and core vocabulary, Chloe, and then it should work. So, yeah, there you go, perfect. Let's see if it pops up. I think I got it ready, but maybe I'm still missing a step. Is it gonna come up? There it is, nice, came up. Okay, so I'm just gonna pull up my notes really quick. So we're gonna get through our lesson, so let's stay focused, do our lesson, and then we can chat after the lesson if you guys want to, and talk about your weekend. Okay, so chapter 4, learning hard lessons. So our primary focus objectives, things I want you and me to come away with this lesson with, is to explain the reasons for conflict between the French and the British, identify George Washington and describe his role in the conflict, describe the course of the conflict in the Ohio River Valley, and then, as always, understand the meaning of our core vocabulary words for this chapter. And as you can see in the chat, Chloe pulled them up for us, so thank you, Chloe. And remember, you can get extra credit for this lesson if you create a sentence on your own using one of the vocabulary words. Please do not copy and paste a sentence. Create a sentence on your own, all right? And that just brings me to my next point. With your guys' assignments, please do your best and really try hard with each answer, whether it's a big question, whether that's here in history or in science or literature. These short one-word answers might be appropriate, but sometimes where it says to describe and explain, please describe and explain so you can get full credit. If you have any questions about that, please let me know. Looks like we have Josh here and Mason and Chloe so far. It's awesome to have you guys all here. So like I said, we're going to get into the lesson, and then if you guys want to talk about your weekend or some fun things that are coming up, we can definitely do that. I would love to catch up with you guys and hear what's going on. But let's focus on the lesson right now so those that are watching the replay can watch it right away. Okay, so let's get a little background, all right? In this chapter, we're going to read about George Washington, and it's going to help us prepare for our big question. So let's call attention for that. So what does the big question say? What were some of the mistakes young George Washington made when dealing with the French army? All right. So as we read, let's look for some of the mistakes maybe made by the young George Washington when dealing with the French army, and we should be able to find those answers. Let me know if the stream is good, if you guys can hear me. It's been a week since we've done this, so I just want to make sure you guys can hear me and that we are live, right? We should be good on my end, but I just want to get confirmation from you guys. Give me a thumbs up or say, like, we can hear you, and then we can jump into chapter 4. Let me know you guys are ready. You can hear me. Got 3 or 4 people here, and no one's responding. Where are you guys at? Do you guys just turn this on and then walk away? Can you hear me, Josh or Mason or Chloe? Anybody else that's here? Can you guys hear me? You guys are making me nervous that I'm not live right now. Nice. Okay, thanks, Chloe. I really appreciate it. Okay, good. Let's get started then. Chapter 4, Learning Hard Lessons. Starts off with the question, whose land is it? Traveling hundreds of miles through the wilderness was a long way to go to deliver a message. Thanks, Mason, for letting me know you can hear me. I appreciate it. It must have seemed especially long to a 21-year-old military officer from Virginia who delivered the message. All he got for his troubles was a big no. The young officer and his party of 6 were from the British colony of Virginia. They were members of the Virginia militia, a sort of volunteer citizens' army. Okay, let's pause because we just hit our first vocabulary word. What was it? Militia. And what is a militia? Militia is a group of armed citizens prepared for military service at any time. And then thanks, Josh, again, for letting me know that you can hear me. That's awesome. I think you guys are the 3 that are here, so I appreciate that. Thank you. Okay, so we just learned what a militia is. So this year was 1753. France had just built a string of forts along the Ohio River in what is now western Pennsylvania. And I think you guys probably know what a fort is. If you're like me, you probably have built blanket forts or built forts outside. But let's look at the definition, which is a protected building or place that is generally used by the military as a stronghold. And this brings me to another point I want to make. When you are filling out the chapter vocabulary words or filling out any vocabulary word assignment that I give you, please use the definition that is in the book that we are learning from. Okay, so for history, use the vocabulary definitions from this history book. Please do not copy and paste an answer from Google or from anywhere else. That will help me know that you are getting into the book. Looks like you guys have talked about building a fort before. Yeah, that's pretty fun, right? So we were just reading that the France had built a series of these forts along the Ohio River in Pennsylvania. So going back to this young officer, his mission was to carry a message from the governor of Virginia to the French general in charge of those forts. Okay, so he's trying to travel this message and give it to the French general. And let's pause because we just hit our 3rd vocabulary word, which is governor. And what is a governor? Can you guys read that with me? A person appointed by the king to oversee a region or colony. And so your parents or guardians have probably listened to some of the governor's video messages that she's been putting out during this coronavirus, talking about what the state is required to do. And so that she is our governor. And so this young officer, going back to our book, is trying to deliver a message from the Virginia governor to the French general in charge of those forts. Nice, Josh. Are you talking about you've listened to the governor speak before? That's awesome. All right, so let's look at this cool picture. The French and the British built forts in North America. Now, can you guys imagine building that fort? It looks like Chloe and maybe Josh was talking about building a fort. Was your fort that awesome? If it was, I want to definitely see it and maybe bring my Nerf guns and let's have a Nerf battle. That'd be fun, huh? All right. Continue to read. For weeks, the Virginians traveled by horseback and canoe until they finally met up with the French general. The young officer handed him the message. It looked like Chloe was just talking about her fort didn't look that cool. Maybe one day you'll build one that's awesome. Okay, let's get back focused. Sorry, I went a little off on that forts. Okay, so the young officer handed him the message. So the young officer sent from the governor of Virginia to the French general just handed him the message. So the main idea of the message was simple. Your forts are on Virginia's land. Get out. So the Virginia governor was saying to the French, your forts are on our land. Get out of here. The French general was polite but firm. No, he replied, my troops will not get out. This land belongs to the French. French fur trappers have lived on this land for 100 years. French colonists have settled here. We will not leave. So on the return journey to Virginia, the group's horses gave out, forcing the officer and his men to walk. All right, so that stinks. He traveled all this way to deliver this message. The French general basically just shut him down, and now he's traveling back, and his horses give out. Oh man, that's rough. So along the way, a Native American fired at the officer. Now he's getting shot at. The shot barely missed him. Then, while crossing an ice-filled river on a raft, the officer was accidentally knocked overboard. Oh my goodness, what is happening to this guy? He just keeps getting all these troubles and challenges. So he nearly drowned before his men got him out. The men finally returned to Virginia, and the officer gave the governor the bad news. Now that's just like the icing on a bad cake, right? Like all this stuff is going bad, and now the last thing he has to do is give the bad news. So the French were determined to stay. The young officer's unsuccessful journey would soon lead to war. The war led to events that brought about the birth of the United States of America. Who was the 21-year-old officer from the Virginia colony? His name was George Washington. He would have a lot to do with the birth of the United States of America. All right, so a cool little story about the young George Washington, about him traveling, and now you can kind of see the foundation of why he wanted to separate from the British Empire and to create the United States, its own country and its own government, Okay, so Washington's mistakes. Now this section is going to help you with the big question, so I hope you're paying attention, all right? The governor of the Virginia colony was determined to make the French leave the land near the Ohio River. All right, let me pause really quick. Remember, you can use, Chloe's been really good at it, so if Josh or Mason, if you guys want to type exclamation point, the big question, all one word, so no spaces, that will pull up the big question to help you remember what we're trying to look for. So if they could achieve this, Virginia would have more control of the Ohio River and the smaller rivers that flowed from and fed into a larger river. So the Virginia colony was determined to get rid of the French near the Ohio River. 1 year later, in 1754, he sent George Washington to the west again. This time, Washington led a force of 150 men. Chloe's saying I was related to the 4th and 12th president. Nice. That is awesome. You're really close on that spelling too, Chloe. Good job. Good try. So President. So really close. That was good. Okay, so look at this picture. George Washington was proud to be an officer in the Virginia militia. I don't know if I've ever seen a picture of young George Washington. Okay, so George Washington is traveling west to get the French out of the Ohio River. Now he's coming with 150 men, all right? So he's got a force with him. The British had built a small fort in western Pennsylvania on the site of present-day Pittsburgh. This is where I served my church mission, was in Pittsburgh. Pretty cool area. The fort sat where two rivers come together to form the Ohio River. So two rivers are coming in, and they meet, and they form the Ohio River. Sorry, guys, excuse me. Washington was to join forces with the British soldiers at the fort. Before he arrived, Washington learned that the French had already captured the British fort and renamed it Fort Duquesne. All right, so not good news. In time, George Washington would become a great general, but in 1754, he was young and inexperienced. He made a number of mistakes. Washington did not have enough men to drive the French out of the fort. The wisest thing to do would have been to return to Virginia. Instead, he continued on with his small force. Not a good idea. Along the way, Washington's troops surprised and defeated a group of 30 French soldiers, killing 10 of them. The French at Fort Duquesne had many more men than Washington had, and they had Shawnee and Delaware Native American allies as well. Okay, let's pause. We just went over 2 vocabulary words. So a general is the main leader of an army. So it's talking about how George Washington would soon become a great general, but right now he's young and experienced and making some mistakes. That's okay. We all make mistakes. The key is to learn from them. And because, possibly because George Washington made these mistakes, he learned from them, and that's what helped him become a better and great general. And then we just went over what an ally is, or we just read about Native American allies. So let's read that definition. Can you guys read that definition with me? A nation that promises to help another nation in wartime. So these Native Americans are helping the French right now. So they were sure to send out a larger force from the fort to deal with Washington's Virginians. Realizing this, Washington built a makeshift camp southeast of the French stronghold. His men called the camp Fort Necessity. The spot Washington chose for Fort Necessity was a low piece of ground. So low ground, usually not the best where you want to be. Soon after the French attacked, it began to rain heavily. Before long, Washington's men, their guns, and their gunpowder were soaked with the rain that collected in the low area where the fort was built. The Virginians fought bravely, but after 9 hours, Washington was forced to surrender. The French commander instructed an assistant to prepare a statement explaining why the fighting had taken place. The statement said, "We, the Virginians, are the ones who started the fighting. It was all our fault." Oh man, that is just like, oh, it's a heartbreaker. Yeah, wow, seriously, huh? The French commander read the statement and handed it to Washington. "Sign," he said. "Sign, or I will not allow the prisoners to return to Virginia." Washington signed, and the men were released. When the men returned to Virginia, British officials were very angry. They were angry with the French and angry with Washington. They blamed him for his unwise decisions. They also blamed him for signing the statement. Washington resigned from the Virginia militia. That could have been the end of his military career. If it had been, you might be saluting the British flag today. Who knows if we would have been, our own country, instead of the stars and the stripes. Okay, and that is it, guys. Chapter 4. Pretty quick, right? Pretty cool, though. Well, I guess cool in the sense of learning about this history. Kind of sad and not so cool that George Washington made some mistakes. Okay, so let's go back to our big question. Oh no, sorry, I lost the chat. Okay, so let's go back to the big question to help you guys with this assignment. So what were some of the mistakes young George Washington made when dealing with the French army? All right, so some key points. Did George Washington have enough men to fight the French at Fort Duquesne? Did he or did he not? When he did want to fight, where did he set up? Was he in a good position with Fort Necessity, or was he in a bad position? And then what about that statement that the French required Washington to sign? So those are some key points and hints to help you with your big question. And then remember to use the definitions from the book to fill out your chapter vocabulary. And then I will see you guys. That's it for today. I'll see you guys in chapter 15. Those that want to hang out and talk, we can do that for a little bit. So you should find a white wig. Oh yeah. Should I find a white wig to wear? Let's just typed colonial wig. Would this be pretty? Should I wear one of these when I'm teaching these lessons now? Will that help you guys stay focused and pay attention? I'm pretty sure there's scientific research to show that if I am wearing a colonial wig, your guys' memory will be enhanced and you guys will remember everything I say. That'd be funny, huh? I don't know if I really want to spend my money to do it, but if I had one, I'd probably put it on for you guys. That'd be pretty fun. If you guys have any questions, Chloe, Josh, or Mason, or need help with anything, or if you want to share anything about your weekend or stuff that's coming up, right now is a good time. I have about 5 minutes, and then I gotta get some stuff done. And I want you guys to get your stuff done as well, but we can hang out for a little bit. I'll pull this up to let everybody remember that we covered chapter 4 today. I don't know if I have anything like out of the ordinary coming up. My next boy, my wife is due in 18 days, so just over 2 weeks. Just coming up, which is crazy. So I'm trying to get ahead with my lessons so that you guys can still watch and stay on top of things. So I gotta do a little bit extra work right now for you guys, but no worries. Want to make sure we have a good quarter. Got a Taco Bell ad going on right now. You guys like Taco Bell? You guys have favorite fast food? I like Taco Bell. Their Crunchwrap Supremes are pretty bomb. So you liked the video and others? You talking about what video are you talking about, Mason? I know, I mean, if you're referring to like lesson videos I've done, I really appreciate that. I know it's not ideal or very fun to be doing school at home. I mean, it's probably nice to like be at home and like be able to do stuff. And if you stay on top of it, you should have more time, like more free time than if you were in school. But I know it's a little difficult to like get focused and work at home. That's why I have like, you can't see it, but I have like this setup right here, this little office studio. And when I sit down, it's time to work. And so like you should try to do the same thing at your house, like have a dedicated spot. Like when you sit down, it's time to work for school. Oh, nice. Mason, you like this lesson and others? I appreciate that. Really. Thank you. You like Del Taco? Nice. Del Taco's pretty good. Tacos. You guys are getting me hungry. I just had like rice and veggies, so I kind of just needed to put it in a tortilla and kind of be like a little taco or a fajita. Okay, just a couple more minutes and then I gotta end so I can go get some stuff done and want you guys to either take a break or go start working on your vocabulary word or big question for this. And if you guys are having fun in these lessons and you guys know any of your classmates, send them a message, try to get them on here. It's good to have you guys all here. It's fun to have at least one day a week that we can interact. Made tamales over break. Nice, Chloe. That's awesome. Tamales are good. I'm not very picky with food, so most food is really good to me. I gotta start doing the readings for Johnny Tremaine, but those chapters are a little long, so whether you're following along with me or if you can read on your own, you might just need to take some breaks, okay? So one thing you could do is just like turn on the readings like once I get them up and then like listen to them while you're like while you're getting ready or something, or while you're making like breakfast or lunch. That way you can kind of like multitask. That's probably something I would do. I don't know what you're saying, Josh. Or am I what? You drew a SpongeBob? Nice, Chloe. We're gonna go eat. Okay, nice, Mason. We'll have lunch. I'll probably end right here. Thanks so much for coming, Josh, Chloe, Mason. You guys are awesome. Make sure you just get your work done. If you need any help, please let me know. It's kind of hard to see. I can kind of see how you guys are doing online, but I can't like really tell. So you just gotta come to me if you need any help, okay? All right, you guys are the best. I'm gonna end the stream right there, And I will see you guys in the next video, okay? Thanks for coming, really. You guys are awesome.